It is a blessing and a privilege to be with you all. I'm looking at my screen and I'm seeing a bit of glitch. So I don't know if that is my computer.
Let's see.
But how am I coming across? Am I coming through clear, Carl?
At first it's a little choppy, but it seems to be better now.
Okay, let
Yeah.
me just
It
check my.
actually shows you on the Zoom, it shows a network bar next to your name. I don't know if you can see that. At least I can see it on my end. And
Yes, it's just like it's going up and down, right?
yeah, I think that helps to determine like if you're missing a bar. So
I'm one slice short of a ham sandwich. I'm missing a bar.
actually, I think you got all five, so you're good to go.
Oh, good, good. Maybe it all worked itself out.
Mhm.
Well, starting a tradition here, Ray, if you are available, could you open us up in prayer, please? If you're available.
All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you so much, Lord, for the Sunday Sabbath, Father, as we go through the weeks in this world, Lord, and we deal with the world and all of the stresses of the world, Lord, how we so look forward, Father, to the Sabbath day, the day that we could take ourselves away from the things of the world and immerse ourselves, Lord, in the Word of God and remind ourselves of the truths that you have taught us and the promises that you have made to us, Lord, Lord, and the great teaching that we have at E-Bible Fellowship that encourages us, Lord, as we learn about your word. We're built up, we're encouraged, we're strengthened, Lord. And thank you, Lord, for this time of enduring to the end and where we can speak to each other, Lord. And we pray, Lord, that this would be a time where we would also be able to build each other up in the things concerning Lord, feeding your sheep and the things concerning serving you, Lord. May we, as always, Lord, remember that at best, Lord, we are your servants, Father. We are your servants. That's all we are. We are humble servants. We do only that which was required of us, Lord. Please give us that humbleness. Give us that humility, Lord. Lord, give us a meek spirit as we go through this world, Lord, that we would remember always, Lord, that that we are called to be your ambassadors, Lord, and that we would always remember these things, Lord. Bless our time together now, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, Ray. Well, I hope everyone had a very good week, despite all the trials. And we know some of our dear friends are suffering or going through trials of affliction. There's much to discuss. And I'm always just so thankful that I can spend the Lord's Day with you all. For many, many years, we've been former family radio listeners, listening to Bible teachers and sharing a lot of the truths that we've learned in the Bible. And we shouldn't take that for granted, as Ray was talking about. This is a time where we can reflect and encourage one another and, just share some of the things we've learned in the Bible, talk about some of our experiences. So if there's anyone that is a new sheep or someone can be edified or encouraged. For example, I was talking with a friend a couple of days ago, and we heard Chris during one of the Q&As. He gave a word of encouragement and said, if you find that, that we're starting to veer off in our behavior, we need to spend more time studying and reading the Bible. And Chris got specific, and he said, if you're on your lunch break, if you have an hour break, spend a half an hour reading the Bible. And if you're not able to, listen to a study. And I thought that was really helpful. And another friend mentioned that, and it was very encouraging. So we have, like Ray was saying, we have a ministry like this that God provides for us to encourage one another during the week, during off hours and on hours. And this is the Lord's Day. We can encourage each other too. So to give you a rundown of today's events, we had a lot of tracking going on this past weekend. There is some information that I've learned about Antarctica that the scientists are now fighting over because, the world is divided. So one of them beat him to it and is talking about this hidden city that's frozen in time, so to speak, with a lot of detail. And they've calculated in their own numbers that the earth is around 20,000 years old, and it's starting to permeate through mainstream. So while we were tracking today, I had some time to meditate. I opened up the Bible and I came across Revelation chapter 15 and specifically verse 4. So I'm gonna show this verse and I'm gonna read it here. It says, actually, I'll start with verse 3. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee. For thy judgments are made manifest. Excuse me. I like this verse because 20 years ago, especially this part of the verse, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. 20 years ago, I would have had a totally different understanding of what it means for all nations to come and worship before thee. But since God has opened up the scriptures and with progressive revelation, at this time, all nations are coming and worshiping before God. And it kind of reminds me of Achan, when Joshua said to Achan, give God the glory and confess. And this is not a verbal confession that the world is doing, but by the very nature of them coming under the wrath of God and how they react to it, spiritually speaking, they are coming and worshiping before God because all their idols are being cast down and destroyed and nothing else is remaining. And not to mention any other things and aspects of judgment that I don't understand. All nations are now coming and worshiping before God. And for God's elect, God's judgments are made manifest. And what a wonderful time it is to live in history that we, in this small group here, as God brings us along, are living in the day of the wrath of God, and we are exposed to this information, living in the day of judgment, and we have this information on our person. And I find it very exciting. It's very fearful. And I'm just very pleased that God would have us all to share these times together, to share how are we getting along in the world during this time of death. Hell is on the face of the earth. And with all the intrigue of sports, we were in New York City today, and it's very interesting. The New York City team won the championship, and the night before, there's this global soccer event going on. So there's lots of people, lots of celebration. And during this parade, we were holding up signs and tracking. And there was a team yesterday that was tracking as well. So we're going to discuss that too. But before we move on, does anybody have anything they'd like to share? Does anyone have any Bible verses they would like to share? I can read, or if qualified, they can read the Bible verse as well. Any Bible verses that came up to you that gave you some joy? Feel free to share any experiences or anything during the week that came to mind, including the tracking that we did today and or yesterday. Please.
Well, if nobody else, I have one verse. I actually keep this verse on my dresser. It's like my little, as Chris would say, my little index card. I have a bunch of them, but this one I keep in a frame on my dresser. Ephesians chapter 4, 1-3. I like to read this often. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called, with all lowliness and meekness, with long-suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. And this is my little plaque over here. that I keep on my dresser here. I don't know if you can see that.
I'm sharing my screen so folks can see the Bible verse, but I
Oh.
will definitely look at it. And Ray, is there anything that you take away from that when you read that? What comes to your mind when you?
Well, I went to a barbecue yesterday with some former coworkers. I worked in Xerox for 42 and a half years. So I went to a barbecue yesterday at one of my former coworkers' house, and a bunch of guys I used to work with were there. And we usually get together at this man's house once a year in the summer. Always a good time. And I had prayed about it beforehand and hoped that I would be able to, be able to share with them, but it just was impossible. I've tried to share with them before, and they, out of respect, they'll listen, but quickly, I know they don't want to hear it. So I don't want to make, I don't want to be, I don't want to go to like a reunion like that and make a pest of myself. I don't want to force people. And then in the back of my mind, I have that verse about casting your pearls before swine. Not that not that I'm saying my friends are swine, but just that whole thing. If people don't want to hear it, I find in my personal life, very few people want to hear it. You know, it's like, I'll give a track out to somebody. Like the other day, I gave a track out to my landscaper, and then a week later, he looked at me, and goes, I haven't read that paper yet that you gave me, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. So it's like that. It's a little bit. I think I said this last week. It's a little bit disheartening that that people. And that's why I so look forward to this program, where I can get together with like-minded believers and we could talk, because you don't get that opportunity the rest of the week. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There's nobody really to fellowship with, except the Lord, of course. As we study the Bible, and as you were saying before, you were talking about what Chris said about listening, and I love that I could, during the day, I could put e-Bible on my cell phone and play it right through my car, and I could listen while I'm driving. I could listen to beautiful music. I could listen to Bible studies. A lot of times I'll sit in my backyard and I'll just put my earbuds in, and I'll listen to a study in my backyard. And those are all the things that God has blessed us with. This whole thing with the AI. Some people talk about AI like it's the devil. I love using AI. AI is one of the greatest Bible tools I found. I could ask any question and it'll bring up all kinds of verses and references, and you could ask it questions about the Greek language, and it, boom, comes up with. It's fantastic for Bible study. It really is. It's a great tool that God has raised up for us. You know, and I know people have a lot of objections to it, but like everything else, there's a good to things, and there's a bad to things. But for me, I have nothing but good to say about AI. It's just been a real blessing for me.
Yeah, it's a tool, Ray, and I'm glad you brought that up, because even though AI can do something called hallucinate, they can give a slightly wrong information, but there's so many different
It's funny
AIs.
you mentioned that, because I just found out about that last night. My son was telling me about that. For the same reason, I was telling him how much I loved AI. It was that we have to be careful. AI can they have hallucinations. I didn't know what that was, but it's funny you said the same thing today.
Yeah, and it's funny because you will see people on the internet, they will get their camera and they'll put it on YouTube. They will talk to one AI and they will tell one AI to talk to the other one, and they'll have
Excuse
a
me one second. Let me close my door. My dogs are going crazy.
sure. They will have a conversation with each other. And you can give one AI instructions to say, whatever the AI says, I want you to give a rude response, no matter what. And so they're doing this. They're trying to see how far they can go in interaction, because sometimes they are service client, customer service based. So even though you tell it to do something, it may not always do it the right way, because it's programmed to really serve you. It's really programmed to serve. So yeah, I would agree. I'm sure Carl, if you're on the line, would you agree AI has been a blessing?
Yeah, it's definitely been utilized in a lot of good ways, especially with the Bible and all the web radios we put up and just different websites.
Yeah. How has it handled the timeline? Can you pump that in there and does it somewhat help in terms of charting and
Yeah, the new timeline page that's on the website, that was all done with AI. It was a recreation of the original one we had.
okay.
And yeah, it's just I mean it understands where to put the data points. You kind of just direct it
Hmm,
and it does it for you. I mean, obviously sometimes it messes up and you just say, no, do this or do that.
right,
And you basically just command it, and it does tasks for you.
right. And sorry, Ray, please keep going. You said you
No,
like
no,
helps with your
I'm good.
study.
I'm good. No, honestly, I've been spending a lot of time working on my conference study. I'm,
Oh,
I'm rewriting it for the third time.
wow. We
So,
really look forward to the conference. You did a study, very good study. Bobby Seavey did a very good study, and he talked about Goliath's sword. We really enjoyed that.
yeah,
And
Bobby's,
said, "There's none like it. Give it to me." I always wondered about it, and Bobby did a study on that. So going to the conference, you really look forward to the studies that people work on, and it's like a banquet, right? It's like a banquet of the Bible.
it's hours and hours and hours and hours and days of preparation for a 1 hour study. They give a 1 hour study. And I'm so glad that I get to go first because I get up there, do my study, and then I could just relax the rest of the time and listen to everybody else.
We don't know what that's like. So hearing that from a Bible teacher, that's good to know that, you have to, review, check, 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 because people are listening with their Bibles open.
Yeah.
It's a good perspective. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, one thing I was going to mention, Gary, regarding the now that you guys are talking about Bible studies, you can actually I like to utilize the AI. Like here's one example. I'll go on like ChatGPT, and I use different ones for different purposes. But if
Mhm.
you're looking just for quick references, ChatGPT kind of lays it out really simply, and just the interface is a little more simple. Or Google's Gemini, but I'll say list all the time references in the Book of Esther. And so it'll find all the verses in the Book of Esther that mention any type of time reference, like it was the third day, in the 10th month, for example. And so that to me is kind of helpful to bring that up. Or I mean, it's kind of like a more advanced Bible app if you think about it, because it has the Bible within it. You can ask it like different Strong's numbers. I haven't tried this, but you could potentially ask, show me all the places in the Bible where these two words are used together, or these three words. And so it definitely has application for Bible study in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and sometimes the AI will present a verse that you didn't find, which is very interesting.
Yeah, no, I've actually had it do that. Yeah, it
I
actually, it
actually
actually,
went
Uh,
to a verse. Yeah.
yeah, it said, what about this verse? And it actually, it mentioned a verse that I was like, oh wow, it fit in with that. And you could probably even tell it some information like if you give it information about the timeline and the Karasim rule,
Hmm.
it actually figured out, okay, the same dates Mr. Camping came up with when it understood that rule.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it eventually got to the flood. Okay, that's 4990
I
BC.
don't trust it. I think it was kind to you, Carl. Well, we have
well,
this, sir.
I,
Right.
I was asking it a question about Mr. Camping, and I could tell, that the programming came up. Is like, Mr. Camping, he did this and he did that, and you have to go through the stuff with a grain of sand. You take out the stuff that's good, and then the stuff that you could see is not
Utilize.
faithful or just been there because whoever programmed it, was just listening to whoever from the church was telling them, because the world, let's face it, the world puts the religious leaders at the top of the poll. Those are the ones, the people that went to seminary, they have all the answers. They know it all because they went to seminary, you
Yeah,
know.
it really actually I think what it does is it gets its information online. So whatever's online, it pulls it up. And so it's going to pull up theologians often when it comes to stuff like that because like you said they're renowned, they're highly respected in the Christian community.
Mhm.
So that stuff tends to go first, but I did notice the other day I typed in I'll show you this on Google. I just typed in what did I put? I put something like what I don't know exactly what I put, but something as far as does anyone teach? That's what I put. Does anyone teach the date of the flood to be 4990 BC?
That's a good question.
Yeah, just without mentioning any names. So it mentions Harold Camping right here. And basically what Google's Gemini does is it pulls up these articles. But look at that E. See the E Bible there?
Hmm.
So immediately, this is, I don't know if it's because I'm signed into my account, but it pulled up, maybe I'll try incognito mode. It pulled up information from eBible.
Did it really? I
Now,
can't see the E on there. That
yeah,
says e-Bible?
It's an
yeah, we
I
can
could,
also see it here. See the sources. So what it does is it tells you what sources it got the information from.
oh,
So
wow.
for example, in this, it mentions this, right? Can Christians know the date of Jesus' return? Well, this article probably mentions Harold Camping, right?
Yeah, false
Um,
prophets.
so it did use this, but look over here. Let's see on the right side. You see right here? See it says E-Bible Fellowship dates established by God, the Holy Spirit through the Bible. So let's click that. Where does it take us? It takes us right to our website. I had put up all these notes for the hope that this would happen when you ask questions. And so we have now it has a link on the website to go to because this article is going to mention 4990 BC probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here. See from the
Thank,
flood.
thank you, Carl. This is super helpful. And I want to mention, folks, if you're
That's
using it,
fantastic, Carl.
Yeah.
you can actually curate your question so AI does a deeper dive. What you ask, if it's too general, it's going to assume a lot of things and it's not going to do a lot of hard work. So with AI, you actually have to ask, I want you to do this. I want you to leave this out. I want you to give an unvarnished, unbiased perspective. You really can get detailed and right to it
Yeah,
what parameters you want and really say, and I want you to list it in this way and keep it under 250 words. The more you boil it down and the more you
exactly.
set it up, it'll help.
It's like you're talking to somebody.
Exactly.
It really
Yeah.
is.
It's like
But
making an
you
omelet. It's like, how do you want your omelet?
you can see, I guess the point with what I was trying to show you here is that it's not necessarily programmed to give you a program response per se, though I'm sure it does have built-in biases. But it scours Google. So in the past, you would just go into Google and you'd have to sift through hundreds of links. Well, what AI does is it does that for you. It
Hmm.
kind of ignores all the irrelevant stuff. It pulls up all the relevant stuff, and then it gives sources. And
Right.
so in this case, it actually checked 9 sites. See that? So 9 sites must have mentioned something regarding
Right.
Mr. Campion or 4990.
And please forgive me, Carl. There are some folks that I want to just keep in mind that have joined the chat. One of them, his name is Johnny. Johnny, hopefully you're still there. I think you might have different hours, and I just wanted to hear
Oh
from
yeah, go for it. Yeah. I just wanted to share that. Go for it, Johnny.
you. Johnny, if you're there, I think I got your name wrong a couple weeks ago. I think I had a glitch, a mental glitch. Tommy and Johnny, if you don't mind, could you please explain to us the tracking event that you had on Saturday and just lay that out for us, please?
Before we start, I just want to make sure, when I listen to Chris McCann, I like when he talks about prayer.
Mhm.
So the verse James 5:15, 5:15 and 16, um, and other verses talk about prayer. So I always make sure I pray for all my teachers, all my brothers and sisters, anyone out there tracking. That's so important to me.
That's right. Especially we know about some certain loved ones on from e-Bible who are suffering right now physically,
Yes.
many different ailments. There are like-minded friends that we may not see. They might be under siege. Maybe they've been given ultimatums from loved ones. There's a lot of things that we just don't know. And we might be wondering what happened to this person or that person. So keeping them in prayer. There might be others that we're not thinking about who are, current like-minded friends that we can pray for and hopefully check on if we're able to reach out to them.
Okay, so this yesterday we went. Four of us went to Danbury, Connecticut.
And
There was a fair going on, attend fair, and we were passing out tracts of and four of us, me, Johnny, Gary from New York, and Michelle. And I think I sent you some videos and pictures, Gary.
That's right. I'm pulling that up right now. There's a 4-minute segment here with Johnny. Johnny, I conversations about, but I'm putting it up because I think it's just a real blessing that you're having this conversation, and it's going to be real. And Johnny, I'm going to play it, and then hopefully afterwards, you can just give us a little bit of a cue here of what happened, what took place. I'm just going to share my sound. You all should be able to see my screen. And there we go.
That's not what the Bible says. When you read that verse, it says, neglect not the assembly of ourselves. That's the language God uses. And when we look that up, when it says ourselves. And when we look up, when we read the Bible, and we compare that with the rest of the Bible, we see first and second John where God says true fellowship with the Father, and he says, our fellowship is not amongst
yeah, but instead of churches to have a shepherd, those are definitely laid out in the Bible.
Oh, we got the slow-mo. That's what you were talking about. Let's see if I can speed this up. Okay. So I guess when we recorded this had a bit of a slow patch to it.
So the background to that conversation was, John, it was a 25 or 30-minute, 40-minute conversation.
Really?
And yes, so
Johnny,
Michelle was recording that, and Michelle was a little hesitant. And I said, Michelle, just go ask them if it's okay to be recorded.
Mhm.
So she went over there, but we weren't near her or Johnny because we wanted to respect the conversation. So so she recorded whatever she recorded. I think it was like 25 minutes, but I wasn't able to download all the conversation.
Mhm.
For some reason, I was having trouble and it was going slow down. So that was some type of computer glitch or something.
I
But Johnny could tell you the whole thing because he was.
want to hear it from the prophet. Johnny, please,
Well,
if you're here, can you set up the cue for us, sir?
I can give a try at it.
How are you?
Good, thank you, Gary, and yourself.
Good, by God's
By
grace.
the way, great tracking you guys are doing out there in New York City.
You as well.
I checked out a couple of videos. It was really nice to see you guys out there doing the Lord's work.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I mean, I don't look forward to engaging in conversations. I just want to just hand out tracks and just keep it moving because I tend to get nervous, and so just I don't know why God allows this to happen to me, but just like the previous time we were in New Haven, almost the same thing happened. I handed the guy a track, and he kind of looked at me and was like, what are you giving me? And I told him that I said, well, this is a gospel track related to the times that we're living in. And he kind of like gave me the bug eyed, like, okay, so and so he wanted more information. And it kind of just puts you in a situation where you have to do some explaining,
Right.
of course, about the track and about what we believe. And so with this particular situation, with it was a family. It was a wife, a husband, and their daughter. And I handed them the track, and hopefully to move on, of course. And they began to engage.
Go ahead, John.
They begin to engage me. The wife, the husband. I got to try to remember because it was such a long conversation.
Mhm.
But the wife, no. So he asked me. He said, "So what church do you go to?" That's what he said to me, and that's the question I was hoping that wasn't going to come out. I just wanted to give the track and go because, of course, it's puts you in a situation where you have to be praying and saying, Lord, help. And so I said, well, this is not a church affiliated ministry. This is strictly the Bible, you know. And he said, well, what do you mean? And that's when I began to explain, okay, well, so we believe we've come to learn from the Bible that the church age has ended. And he was like, so what does that mean? And, and, my nerves start getting crazy because I just don't know. I'm really depending on the Lord, Lord help. And he does help in a time of need. I realize that by God's grace, to give answers that are faithful. I believe anyway, I hope. And so so I began to explain. So I at one point I can remember saying, well, have you heard of Harold Camping? And he said, yes. I was hoping he was going to say no, but he said yes. And I was like, oh boy, I really got myself into something now because he knows. And he said, yeah, but everything he prophesied about May 21st, I know about that. That was all false. Everything that he taught was false. And I in return said to him, I said, well, not everything. I said, to be honest with you, 90 to 95% of the things that Mr. Campbell taught was faithful to the word of God. Yes, we needed some correction, but insofar as that date of May 21st, 2011, that was the day of judgment. The only thing we were incorrect about, or he was incorrect about, was the fact that it was a physical judgment. We have now learned that it was a spiritual judgment, just like it was upon the churches and congregations. And then that's when he went further on. He went past that, and his wife started engaging. She started telling me, well, what do you believe in so far as salvation?
Wow.
Because and so we got on a topic of getting, how do we become saved? And I can't recall all of it, to be honest.
Right.
Because it was just so much was being said back and forth. But also I can remember stating this because I wanted her to understand that we must compare spiritual things with spiritual. I wish I had came out a little more with that, like in my previous conversation with the gentleman in New Haven. But I did bring up a couple of passages in the Bible.
No, we did,
about-
Johnny. We did. In New Haven, I brought it up, and the guy was saying, "Oh, there is such thing as spiritual," and that's when he didn't realize it. Oh, that is something he didn't know that.
Yeah, no. So Tommy, so I'm just talking about the lady at this time. So I can remember bringing up a verse. I remember I said, you know how God says, "Seek ye the kingdom of God and His righteousness." I said, so the churches will teach you to do that, but we don't have the ability to seek God, because if we compare that with the rest of the Bible, we'll see that in Luke 19. I hope I was faithful. I think I remember Luke 19. I said, "The Son of Man comes to seek and to save that which is lost." And then I further went on to say that there's none that seeks after God in Romans chapter 3. And the husband seemed to be understanding quite a bit, because he stayed and he engaged, and he was like, well, I understand that. And then at one point he did say, though, when I brought up Romans chapter 3, he said, does it say that none seeks after God? I said, yes. And then the wife jumped in and she said, well, yeah, I think it does say that, because it says that they're all unprofitable. And I said, yes, that's correct. So she kind of backed that up. And
Right.
and so the verse, so the conversation just was going on. And then I think I noticed Michelle come in at the end, towards the end of the conversation, and recording that. about 4 minutes, I guess. 2 times she recorded. She was recording for about 10 minutes or so. I guess she broke them up into 2 videos from what Tommy showed me, but I don't understand why it went to slow motion. I had wished that the videos were able to be shown that way. I wouldn't have to try to explain it as much.
It was God's will. And one thing I'm learning from this, would you say at the end of this conversation, was it profitable in your estimation? You know, when
Oh, absolutely. And the reason why I say that is because when a gentleman left, it seemed like he didn't want to leave because he wanted to know more, you know. And I really believe it was profitable because at the end of our conversation, he said to me and Michelle that that a lot of the things that you said were I agree with. He said. He said a lot of things you were saying I agree with. It's just a couple of things that I'm struggling with right now. And ultimately they did take the track with them home. So I would say that it was profitable.
Johnny, when they were asking you, what do you think about salvation? That's something we would say, you know, when somebody
Yeah,
has a track, we get to the meat and potatoes right away. We're like, well, what do you think about salvation? I was,
right.
I thought it was pretty curious with that encounter, the way they were, you know, engaging with you. It was like they were doing like some detective work. They wanted to know how faithful you were. And I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think so too, Gary.
May
And
God bless.
I really think that God just allowed because I'm always my desire is to just hand the track and keep it moving. I really don't really want to engage with anyone, but God allowed it, and for His purposes and His reason I believe for me to continue to study.
Right.
And by God's grace and His mercy, I do study, and for these moments and these times, I want to be faithful to the Lord and bring forth the truth, not in a way that how you what am I trying to say here?
That honors lifts up the Bible and not ourselves, you know, as if
Yeah,
we
yeah, but also not to be back and forth arguing about the gospel, but just just laying out the truth the best I can and being patient and listening to them, of course, and seeing what they have to say, and just allowing God to just, I pray, use me to the best of my ability in a way that He would use me that would glorify Him.
I noticed
So
Oliver was saying the same thing when he tracks now and he engages with people. He said that, you know, God was showing him, or at least he's learning as he's tracking to listen so people can fully get their statement out and he can address their question and answer them. That's wonderful, Johnny. I'm glad that you
right.
were able to answer my question so quickly because I know there's other folks that wanted to talk. So, Tommy and Johnny, thank you for your videos. Tommy was just added to Publish the Truth, Conceal It Not. Perhaps with some practice, he can now upload videos on his own. So if you subscribe to Publish the Truth, Conceal It Not, you'll get a notification with the title, and then you can put something in the comments. And remember, when you put something in the comments, you're letting Google know that you're not indifferent to this. You know, it's not 50, you're
But
letting.
just to add to it, we were there for about 2 hours.
Hmm.
I would say it's about 90% reception. We gave a lot of tracks. Um, and it was really great. And I also met the guy who was in charge of that
Event.
event. He came up to me and he approached me, and the first thing he said to me was, "I'm hearing that you are disrupting our customers."
Whoa.
And I said, "No, sir, we're just handing out tracts. We're not a church." And he says to me, "I know that." And I said, "Okay, well," he says, I hope you're not being aggressive." I said, "No, sir. I believe that if they decline it," I said, "Thank you very much." And we gave out to the next one who were accepted with gladness and appreciate it. And he said, "Okay, no problem." He said, "I'll take a track from you." And that was it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. I got a video here. Let's just see very quickly. It might be because I've got too much windows open or something, and I'm putting too much drag on the computer. But folks, if you'd like to see that video, please go on Publish the Truth, Conceal It Not. Go to Shorts. You're going to see Saturday's trip along with the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And you'll be able to see some really good tracting. If you look at the comments that I posted, it's like tracting 101, staying active, moving around, and getting that. So Tommy and Johnny, thanks very much. If you'd like to talk a little bit more about that a little later, or if you're still around, please feel free to do so. Ray, yes, I know you wanted to say something. Thanks for your patience.
No, I just want to say, Johnny, that was great. That was really great. You handled it perfect. And boy, the whole time you were talking, I know exactly what you meant by feeling nervous. I tell you what, when I get up in front of the conference, you have to see how nervous I am. You know, when I first started listening to E-Bible Fellowship, I had no desire at all to be, nor that I think that I'd ever be teaching or doing anything like I'm doing right now. It just, I was just listening like everybody else, and God opened that door. And the last time I had God opened the door really good, like He did for you when you were tracting. I was it was about 5 or 6 years ago. I was fixing copier machines in North Shore University Hospital, and I was fixing these machines in these little offices with nurses in them. And we got into some really, really good talks. They actually loved hearing it. They loved listening to, I said, wow, you know so much about the Bible. But it never really, even with all of that, with all of the explaining and giving them tracks and going over everything, it unfortunately never went anywhere. They never really listened. They never called in. I encouraged them to call in on the open forum, but at least they're listening. You don't know how God's going to use that. And, the one thing I would say is, John, is when you get a situation like that, just remember God says, don't fear man. Don't fear man. You have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. You're doing God's work. You have nothing to fear. And, that's what I keep telling myself because I do get very, very nervous. I mean, people tell me, oh, you look so calm when you're up there talking. You have no idea. You have no idea. You get up there and boy, oh boy, your heart is pounding so fast. It feels like it's going to come out of your mouth.
Ray, when you're up there, I feel like you're so comfortable up there. You're up there. It's like you're like in a natural flow. It's interesting. And this is interesting because I talk about my fear, and, everyone is sharing when it comes to working for the Lord. We see, like Moses, Moses had the same challenge.
Yeah.
Same challenge. He said, send someone else. He said to God, send someone else. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
He said, send someone else, someone more qualified. Why me, Lord? Aren't there better people out there? And God got upset with Moses. He said, there's your brother. I know he can speak well. So God had provision, and it was already ordained. But it does not wipe the fact out that God was not pleased with Moses. How do I say it? He was kind of backtracking, like, whoa, not me. Send someone else because I'm not qualified. There's far better people out there. And that's how I feel as well. But we know that when God, puts someone in a particular position, it's really an opportunity. It's really an opportunity. And would you agree, Ray, that your spiritual walk has been blessed by this responsibility? Would you say that, even though there are
without, like I always tell people, doing Bible study, nobody benefits more than me. When I do these studies, nobody benefits more than I do. And I'll be honest, I mean, sometimes I'll take, I'm not the most organized person. I'm sitting at my desk here. I have notes all over the place from when we did, the panel discussions and Bible studies, and they're just like all piled up. And sometimes I'll just, go through them and take notes from 3 or 4 years ago, or from a study I did 3 or 4 years ago, and just go over it and read it again, and it helps me. The studies are very helpful. I'm not as organized as I should be by a long shot. I need to.
Wait till you can take a photo of your study and ask AI to summarize it, or give me all the bullets and put it in a spreadsheet for you that you can
Yeah.
recall upon by hitting a search query.
It'll say, this is what they call an organized mess.
AI
That's,
can,
that's,
Yeah.
that's my office.
there you go. But you can scan that into a PDF. You can take the paper clips out, scan it all into a PDF, save the file, and ask AI, download it to AI and say, I'd like to reference these. Can you put these in order or whatever? Then you can actually have it as an AI tool.
I'm so bad at that. You know who's really good at that is Bobby Seavey. He's the best organizer I have ever seen in my life. That man, you could talk to him about a Bible study, and he can pull out that Bible study in 5 minutes from his notes. Yeah, I've never met anybody like him. He's amazing how organized he is.
Really,
But I'm exactly the opposite.
truly, God has people with gifts, and I thank you for sharing that, Ray. So please, folks, when you're looking at us, please don't look at us. We're just people in the flesh. And you yourself, when you have to go out and track, because I have some silly gas station challenge or cashier challenge or whatever the case may be. These are just things to keep in the back of your mind to say, oh yeah, I should take a track with me. Hey, I don't have to pass it out. That's what I do when I'm not feeling strong. I say, you know what? I don't feel like doing this, but I'm going to put this in my pocket. So if the Lord presents an opportunity, I'm ready, willing, and able. And sometimes God does that, and he creates the opportunity. So the next time the opportunity isn't there, I can create it because I have previous experience of how God made a way for me. And so even if the person tells you no, it feels so much better than not asking that person at all. There's a big difference.
Oh. I always use the phrase, when God opens the door, we need to be ready to step in and talk. When God opens the door, we have to be ready. Be ready, be always ready to give an answer, the Bible says. Be ready always to give an answer for the hope that is within you. And that's why we need to study. That's why we need to study, so that when those opportunities come, when God does open the door, somebody asks a question, you have to be able to give good answers. You have to be able. That's why we all used to love listening to Mr. Camping and to Chris McCann, because when you ask a question, you can get a good answer, a good biblical answer, and that's what you want. You don't want to be stumbling over, as I usually do. You stumble over yourself. You get into that situation and you get nervous, and somebody's asking you a question, and you're like, oh, you don't know what to say first. That's what you have to pray about, and I do. I pray about it. I pray, God, give me calmness, give me patience, and help me to remember. Help me to remember the things that you've taught me. And you'd be surprised how that works. Once you calm down and you pray about it and you ask God, Lord, help me to remember, give me patience, and next thing you know, you're just rattling it out. You're just rattling it out. It's just coming out of you. So easy.
And a couple of things. I used to go to a former fellowship. His name was Dave. And Dave said, always bring it back to Christ. And he would say that when he does a study, he always tries to wrap it up and make sure that whatever the original topic was, he brings it back and summarizes it. Now, do we all have to do that? I don't think so. What I can tell you is Mr. Camping on Family Radio would give excerpts of the open forum program. And one time they recorded this. Mr. Camping said, that's an excellent question when he was doing this program. Right. So if you're attracting and someone comes to you, you can tell them that's a very good question. That's a good question. We have the new open forum program. We're in need of callers. We're hiring. It'd be funny or maybe not funny. Do your style. I'm always a kidder. So I would say something like that because that's my natural gift, Say we're hiring. We're looking for people to call in on the program. Obviously it's a volunteer job, but we'd love to hear your question. And if you really feel confident that this information is wrong, I think you'd be doing the audience a service. because there's a lot of people who aren't calling in who probably have the same question. Could you please consider calling? I'll be listening in Monday through Friday, and I look forward to hearing from you. So if you can't remember the Bible verses, you can delegate it to your uplink. Think of yourself as in corporate, you're doing a sales and you got to close the deal and you don't have the answer. Are you going to wing it? You're going to be like, I don't have the answer, but I know who does. I'm going to put you in touch with a Bible teacher. And if you don't mind, they can probably answer that question a lot better than I can, because there are certain things I could speak about and I could try, but I'd really like for you to check in this.
Oh, we try so hard. I mean, I know I do. I try so hard to get people to listen and call in on the open forum. Call in, listen to it. What are you gonna do? All you could do is suggest and talk about it and give the track, but ultimately it's in God's hands. It's in God's hands, and right now it seems, and at least where I am, I live in Long Island, New York, but boy, oh boy, there's not a lot of people that I've met out there that are really anxious to learn about the truth of God. The people, especially the people in the churches. It's funny how God worked this whole thing out with 1994 and 2011, where you can't even talk to people now because they say, oh, like Johnny was saying, do you know Mr. Camping? And the guy said, yes. I was hoping he would say no, because right away you feel almost like you're defeated now, because, everything that guy taught was wrong. It was all wrong. No, it was not wrong. No, it was not. It was not wrong. And now you have to, try to get into that kind of a conversation.
So Ray, thank you very much. Johnny, if you don't mind, Harry, very quickly, Johnny, please go ahead. I know you have a time constraint. If you're there, Johnny. I don't see him anymore. Let me see. Did I do something? Maybe he raised his hand by incident. Hold on 1 second. Johnny, one more time. Let me just see.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Ray for those encouraging words. Eddie also told me he sometimes get nervous when he's up there speaking. So
He looks like
it's just, I told him, and I can't see it in Ray. I actually don't see it in any of the teachers when they're up there teaching. They seem so calm and collective. And I just thank God for all the teachers there at eBible. But I just want to thank Ray for those encouraging words. And yes, and I do find that, praying at the moment, in my mind as they're speaking to me, God in his grace and his mercy, he's been gracious enough to give me words from the Bible, bringing back to my remembrance to share with others. And there's no greater joy than that, to be given that which you need at that time. And I'm so grateful for that. But like Ray said, Bible study. So I spent a lot of time in my truck going over verses and verses and verses and trying to ponder them, because as you get older, your mind just goes and your mind is on everything else. But going over a lot of verses and pondering and asking God to hide the word in your heart that you may not sin against him, and to bring it back to our remembrance and all these wonderful things is a great help. So thank you, Ray, so much for that and those encouraging words.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for bringing that up too. Having Bible verses on your job, just whipping them out. These are really good words of encouragement. Let's keep that close to us and see if we can do that ourselves. Maybe we can start with a sticky note. Maybe we can get a little more professional. Maybe our screensaver. Who knows? Who knows what we can do with that? Yes, Harry, please go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say, when Ray was talking about stage fright, if you look up the word anxiety, as there's a photo of me, and it says also see stage fright, and there's another photo of me. So, but yes, I even to this day, I am terrified, and I think I talked to Ray about it at one of the Bible conferences. So. And I think you even said, Gary, Harry, you look so calm up there. So, but that's not the case. But I mean, even like when I read the Bible, the day of, I'll be thinking of it when I get up in the morning. I'll be thinking of it like, oh, please don't, don't make Harry, this is the Lord's word. Do not, destroy it, so to speak. But
Harry, so this is interesting. There's a common thread here that people, when they're doing the service of the Lord, they're very concerned that they don't foul it up,
oh yes,
cause damage.
I don't know why I'm losing your feed, Gary. It's not. I'm not being able to hear you clearly.
Yeah, I'm hearing some kind of shaky.
Now it's clear. Now it's clear. I'm going to say what Chris says. Please turn off your and talk into your phone, please.
Mr. Camping used to say that too.
Did he? Yes. We're creatures of habit. But the other thing I wanted to say to Ray is that if he's putting notes everywhere, please don't start Post-it notes because you'll have a whole wall or some place of your house covered with them. So, but yes, all the things that we do to keep track of the Lord's word and our notes and how we organize or don't organize ourselves, it can be detrimental. And like you said, you don't want to be looking like you're, even though some of us do look like we're flying by the seat of our pants sometimes, me especially. So
it's been on my to-do list for the past 3 years to organize all my Bible studies and notes, and I still haven't gotten to it.
no,
The best
you
I
still,
can do
you
is
still
put
have
them
a,
in-
you
put them in
still have a
binders.
couple years left, Ray.
There you go. That's what I figure.
What
We
is
got
it?
7
Is it 7 years left? We got 7 years to get it
Oh, yes.
organized.
7 years, my friend. I'm counting them.
Yes, I know.
Count
I
them.
know.
7 years.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I'm up front in day in the Word and virtual days, and I have extreme anxiety and stage fright when I'm up there. So,
Well, I'll
and-
tell you this, Harry. Your reading of the Book of Psalms, and I'm sure I speak for everybody, has just been a tremendous blessing for me.
well,
I mean,
thank
you
you
do
for
a great
saying so.
job reading the Book of Psalms. I
Yes,
look
it's
forward
a-
to it. The
it's-
Psalm
it's
of the
a-
day.
Yeah, I think I think of the Psalms as being it's like the entire Bible in a condensed version because there's stories, and it's all done the song too. It's amazing. It's amazing that the early Israelites sang praise to their Lord and sang stories of their trials and tribulations and their judgments. It's a way to get everyone active, even though we always say, hey, come on up and sing. But, some of us don't sing that well. It doesn't matter, just sing. So, but, what a blessing, that the Lord has all this information in a form that, one, He's given us eyes and a heart to understand it, most importantly.
Amen.
And like you said, at this time, it's difficult. Like, do you know Mr. Camping? You cringe, I think if they said no, that would be better to talk to them.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's a different time and season right now, and the messages feed my people, and we know the Lord's going to do the feeding, and His Word will do the feeding. And there seems to be, we sometimes sit there and go, boy, there's not many people doing these track trips, or there's not people, even when Mr. Camping prior to May 21st, 2011, I don't see a multitude of people doing this. It's like a small voice, as it mentions in what scripture is that in Kings, or a still small voice, at the end. Was it? I forget where things are in the Bible, or sometimes I just don't know where it's at, but I can get close to what's being spoken or said. So, but anyway, I just wanted to say it's frightening and tough, but it does create a better walk with your Lord by opening doors up and stuff. So
Causes us to pray, and it causes us to read the scriptures.
yes,
Christ, not against us.
Hey, you've all broken up again, Gary. I can barely hear you.
yeah, something's not. Maybe you have too many windows open. They're not screens, I should say, screens.
I might have to put the screens up. How am I now?
You know what it is? It's actually your mic because your face isn't choppy. Turn up
It's
your
this-
mic. Is your mic volume turned up all the way on your laptop?
Oh, that's an interesting
Solution.
now.
Mhm.
Any
Yeah,
better?
because what it is I don't see any problem with your video. It's actually your sound.
Yeah, I'm hearing some hush feedback every time I speak.
Go to your audio settings, hit the arrow, and see if the speakers see if original sound for musicians is turned on, or if it's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like going back on its own, like some kind of auto.
Yeah, you have some sort of gate noise gate setting, I think, turned on, where it tries to suppress the background and the audio,
That's correct.
but it
It's
ends
still-
up
Well,
it
you-
makes your voice go up and down.
I don't know. Am I able to? Can you hear me? I just wanted to. When Carl, when you were mentioning that Gary had bars, Gary, are you using your phone as a hotspot to broadcast this, or are you using Wi-Fi
No,
at your home?
And I don't think he's having internet issues because his video isn't choppy. It's just
Yeah,
the
the
mic.
video's good.
Yeah, so that means it's not an internet thing. It's an audio thing.
Okay. All right.
That's an
Yeah.
excellent assessment, Carl. And I don't know if I'm able to find the solution while I'm talking with you. Do we have 20 seconds?
Yeah, you're breaking up again.
It's
Yeah,
gotten
while
worse,
you look
Gary.
at that, I'll show some website updates while
Okay.
you work. Yeah. Let's see. So I try to keep up with the website. There's more and more features being added periodically. But we do have
Good.
web TV that's up. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going
Okay.
to say that the times of the schedule, I checked the schedule again this morning, and the times were all off, and the programs listed on the schedule were not correct for today.
You're talking about the web
Yeah,
radio
right there.
schedule here?
Right there, schedule. Broadcast schedule. So if you go back to the beginning to it says Robert Daniels, keep going, go up a little bit.
This is the farthest, 12 a.m. to 12:30.
No. I mean the other way. Go down to
go
like
down.
7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. See, it's got live open forum from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. There was no open forum from 8:30 to 10
Well,
o'clock.
you're right about that, but it's also detecting my time zone, which I'm in California, but that's still off. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. I'll figure out what went wrong there. And by the way, that schedule does change depending on what station you select. So if you have Spanish,
Right. Okay. I
That
had a
would change.
feeling it might be California time, but like you said, I said, well, California's 3 hours, and it's even more than 3 hours off.
yeah. So thanks for pointing that out. I'll look into that. There's a lot of moving parts with these websites, and so you change one thing and something else.
Yeah.
It's
Like
changed.
when Chris's Bible study was on today, it said up now, and it listed his study part 1, and then it said up next part 2.
Okay.
And I said, well, that's coming this after. That's not coming until next week. But if you looked at the station, it looked like it was going to come on right after the first study.
Okay,
you're
yeah,
gonna go
I'll take a
one
look
right
at
into the next.
Yeah, it's just something in the code needs to be fixed. So as you can see, we have a total of 8 stations here, and they're each you can easily identify which station's which now, Chinese, English, all of that. And if you change the station over here, let's say to like Urdu, and it'll press play, it'll actually turn it on over here. But yeah, you can listen to each of these different stations and hit play. And I think earlier today I looked on we have this map.
No matter if they're the highest courts.
We have a map here. You can see where people are listening, and if you see like purple light up, somebody's listening to the Urdu player, or if you see pink, that's Hindi. So I saw a few in Pakistan earlier, so that was nice to see. But yep, those are all set. We're continuing to just build up these libraries and add more content. So it kind of matches what these are all. A lot of these are newer, so they're going to take time to build up. But we're working on content for these different stations. And then we also have, we go back here, we also have web TV. So if you click that, this will connect to our web TV.
What's Judgment Day?
And this will just go through programmed videos and stuff. This is, even though this isn't a video, it's a study that's in video format. Not all of our Bible studies are in video. So this is like watching a video version of the web radio. So you can look at the different times that these play. And this was just added today, YouTube Live. You're gonna see us here and stuff. This is, even though it's just the ability to watch our live streams actually on our website with a video, and you can even comment with our chat that's right here. So if you don't want to go to YouTube, you can go to our website and access the same features. Let's go back home there. Of course, anytime we're live, this thing pops up. You can click watch on YouTube. That'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Or you can hit watch on our website. Same thing as this button over here, YouTube Live. Earlier, Ray, we were looking at that Google search. That was actually a result of these Bible notes that we have here. These are hundreds of different Bible notes that Chris has done over the years. And if you're ever looking for a particular topic he's brought up, you know, like if you type in Judgment Day, I'm sure that's mentioned a lot. It'll actually...
I've used the Bible question format. I never used this one before. This is interesting.
Yeah, this one's it's very similar to the Bible question finder. This one you can look for any note that has that word. So here he mentions judgment. 20 scriptural passages declaring God will not save anyone during Judgment Day. And so you can read his note. You can copy it, copy the text. You can share it on social media, read it in a new tab. This is where people will find us on Google. If they type in this information, this kind of exposes us on Google and allows people to find these notes. So that's nice. So that's here. So yeah, when people get a chance, check out these different links that are on our website. So
I'm
click
so
out.
glad that you understand that, call, and that you're putting that in place. That's amazing that you're putting that in place, that people will put in a Google question and it'll come up with an e-Bible fellowship. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because
just
this
amazing. That's
it's
amazing.
important. We've never had something like this, and this wouldn't show up if this were on Facebook. It'd be less likely to show up on a Google search result. So it's very important that these notes are actually on our website, because it does expose us. And you can actually I think I set it up where you can, if you read like a note, you can also comment at the bottom here. And you can also like it too. You can hit like. So feel free to leave a comment. Maybe somebody comes on our website and they read this note and they see somebody's comment. So check that out. That's Bible Notes.
You're doing a great job, Carl. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope people will be able to get a lot out of it. I know the Bible question finder is pretty popular. So that's right here.
e-Bible fellowship is going to explode before we get to 2033. We're just getting everything set right now. We're getting everything set up, but it's definitely going to explode. I mean, I don't have biblical proof for it. I just have a feeling.
That's the hope. Yeah. And what other ministry is sharing this information? So
there is none. It's
going to come extremely strong, and we can see bits of it. Is my sound a little better, gentlemen?
It seems
a little better
It
now.
better.
It comes and goes.
Okay.
Try it and we'll see how it is.
Yeah, I'm right along the lines of what you're saying, Ray. I do believe that this is going to be mainstream household daily discussion at some point. And the time is going to be ran through AI, through people who are against it, and it's going to be tested. And I think people are going to be questioning up and down in the Q&A. So folks, please, I heard Chris thinking about reducing the Q&A. What's going on? It's too much.
Yeah, no more Friday nights. No more Friday night. Well, Chris brought up a good point. He said there's so much work that goes into preparing for the nightly open forum, and that he said, with the reduced amount of callers, it's not the best use of our time.
Yeah.
And I thought the way he said that was you can't argue against that. There's other things he could be doing. He's putting a lot of time right now into writing his next book. Him and Bobby Seaby's been doing the proofreading on it, and it's been a big project. It's been going on for a while now, and a tremendous amount of work going into this next book that's going to be hopefully ready for the conference. But a tremendous amount of work.
If we have more demand for callers, I think over time, increasing it. But because I think, like you said, Ray, I think this is a time to really prepare to put all this stuff together. One thing I'm realizing is I don't think our current system can handle 10,000, 100,000 people tuning into these web radios. So we're looking at ways to prepare for that.
Forgive me, Carl and gentlemen. I do have Miriam. I think she raised her hand initially, and I really would like to hear. Hi, Miriam.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just a few things. First, with respect to the website, I think it's great, and Carl showed me how to. I'm going through the Chinese site to see how things are going there and seeing how the setup is and what's being said, but not too much with the American site. I just go to where I want to go, get what I need, and I'm pretty much out of there after that. But I think it's a fantastic site. I really, really think you did a great job, Carl. With respect to the Friday night call going, to me, that was a big blow. I think anytime we can all get together and discuss the Word of God, that's exactly what he wants. But I know why he had to do it. And it reminds me, just this week, I picked up Eddie's Jude study from a while ago. And I remember in one of them, I think part 2, he said, he referenced the book of Daniel and the angel coming and telling him basically, since you prepared your heart, Gabriel here is going to open up the verses for you. And at that point, he made a reference like, that's what everybody should be doing now. You should prioritize your lives, our lives, to getting reading in more. Studying is essential. It is, I don't know how to explain it to anybody else. I mean, it needs to be done daily. And I know people can find the time. I know they can, because even the people that are tracking is great. You have to do it, but you have to also study equally, because just like Mr. Hyman said, when you are confident, when you know your stuff, you won't fear being asked questions. That's one thing I've learned, doing the things that I need to do for my secular life. When you thoroughly know something and you're constantly reading it, you won't miss a beat. In fact, you'll probably say, oh, I forgot to do this and say that. So that's what I want to encourage people is we should have Q&A. If Ray just said he thinks this site's going to blow up, as time is going on, where are even our own people doing the questions and answer? I mean, it stuns me. It just stuns me to this day. It stuns me how we don't have enough questions, because I can read a psalm and in just the first two verses will contradict each other. And that in itself is a question. So I think, I'm not trying to be harsh. I just think it's for all of us. We need to be in the Word big time.
I think we have such a big task ahead as far as reaching the nations. Like, we kind of tend to forget, but the U.S. it's a very small part of the world's population.
Okay.
We have a lot of English content, but we don't really have a lot of I want to show you something here on the map.
Foreign language content.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of language content.
If you went to Bible app, the Bible Gateway app also had a live who is looking at this Bible live. And that babe, because I don't have the fastest, it kind of freezes on me, but you should see that, Carl. Is that the Bible Gateway one, or is that ours?
Where is that at? That's on our website?
No, Bible Gateway, the blue letter Bible. I'm sorry.
The Blue Letter Bible?
Yeah, they have a live, you could see it. And because I don't have fast internet, it gets choppy on me, but you could see quite a bit of places. And again, that's the AI that you guys referenced, because we're hoping that's going to do a lot of the work, which will, kind of free us up to do a lot more reading and studying. And that brings me back to what I initially wanted to say. Last week we heard, I don't know if it was Chris who said it or one of you guys mentioned it, that Brother Camping, when he prayed, 50% of his prayer was for him, and more than that was for he himself, which stung me, because I always thought majority of your prayer should probably be for people outside, especially in light of what we read in the book of Samuel, with Samuel himself saying that he's going to pray for these people. So when I heard that, it really changed everything for me. And I realized a lot of us probably, I know myself, will be in a lot better circumstance and a lot better place if I prayed a lot more than even I studied. because I don't even think I pray a lot more as I study. I study a lot more. It's very easy for me to get up and read, but to kind of just be focused to pray is a different matter. So that's all. Praying for yourself. So those
just to
things.
mention the last thing that you had brought up about the callers is that it is true that, you know, if we're dedicating or if Chris is dedicating, you know, a few hours out of his day and he's only getting 1 or 2 callers, then, you know, just given the short amount of time we have and the great task ahead, it definitely behooves us to spend that time more maybe focusing on things like this. You know, and then as demand increases, you know, it makes more sense to do that. But there is a pretty big task, and just time is going by. We're already halfway into this year. And I was just showing you this map because I was reading online that this red circle here is half the world's population. They call it the Valera. I don't know if I can pronounce this all the way. Piraeus Circle. You know, and this would cover India, China, parts of
That's
Russia.
another thing. I wish a study would come on, because I look at America and I'm seeing this is a nation absolutely made of all the nations. I would dare to see if there's a nation that's not here. So I love the fact that we focus here. I mean, I know
No, it is true. America is a
3 billion
melting
are
pot.
there. I know
but
3
it's-
billion people are over there. 3 billion,
Yeah.
right over that circle that you did.
Well,
You
no,
know,
that's.
like I
I
said,
think it's about half.
God will
I think
guide
it's
us.
more about 4 billion.
Okay, that's a
half of that.
lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot. But
something like that.
I would like to know also how, just because we are saying there's 4 billion there, the majority of the chosen are going to be there. Is that
Well,
is that what we're saying?
I think statistically, yeah, because just from God. Well, for one, we know that the gospel, it's the first who are called, you know, the first who have the gospel. You know, God says that they'll
Right.
receive it last, salvation, and vice versa. And you know, America and Europe, you know, we've had the gospel longer than, for example, China. You know, China, they've restricted the gospel. In North Korea, you know, or India, for example. You know, Gary can testify to that. You know, going to India, and so that's in keeping with that idea that the great multitude, you know, would be in these countries, but also just from a mathematical standpoint, statistically, most of the world is not in the U.S. We are a melting pot, but we're only 8% of the population.
You know what's interesting too, Carl, very quickly, geopolitically, it's interesting how the door is open here and the door is kind of physically restricted over there. And you can see how the West is kind of in decline and the East is starting to rise up in terms of resistance and growth. It's possible that God could be planning this all out. And if you notice, if we talk about the gospel here in the East, there's strong knowledge of May 21, 2011, and how it really is like a barrier to them accepting the Bible verses. But perhaps maybe in the East, it's not as well known. And that barrier about May 21, 2011 may not be as strong. It might not even be an issue. It might just be instances of, well, that's the process of learning truth. You got to get it wrong to get it right. But in here in the West, it seems to be more of, well, because you were wrong, I'm not going to listen to you at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I find it interesting too how God has allowed us. I mean, God has obviously used America, like for example, with Family Radio. You know, He used America to reach the world. So He's definitely, even though it's a much smaller population, He did use, you know, Fam Radio to go out into the world. You know, I think Mr. Campion has always understood too that the great multitude is primarily outside. And so, you know, just with given the limited time, that probably should be our focus as far as content. And right now we've built up most of our English. And so now we're reaching a point where we have so much English content. Now it's time to translate all that English content and get it out to these nations. And so you can see, you know, these are all of our stations, and these are all sending out radio waves to just the various nations, you know, most primarily from Philadelphia and Miami. And so this is one way that we're trying to reach nations that with our segments. In Spain, we actually have a 24/7 radio. I don't have it on the map here, but just northern Spain, this is the only station we're able to acquire for a whole year that's allowing us to broadcast 24/7. And what it's broadcasting is actually is broadcasting our Spanish station, which is right here.
That's good.
So Salvador. So even though we may only get a few listeners on our Spanish station on the internet, there's potentially thousands of people in Spain, maybe even closer to 50, 100,000 people that are hearing that particular station being broadcasted in northern Spain. So this web radio is scheduled by Salvador, and it's being pushed through actual radio. And so it's so we have an internet radio, but then it's actually going through actual radio, and it's reaching people that way.
Is there nothing
so-
in Africa? Or are we working on
We
anything?
do. I think we
Mostly
did
French
have.
speaking. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing with French.
Mm.
With our French content is, I think we need two different types, because we need one that would reach people, like for example with Paris.
Hmm.
I think it's a slightly different French, and so we'd have to. But we do have some French content. I just don't know if it would be suitable for which nations.
Or French or English. I mean, most of the people in Africa will either speak English or French, without a doubt.
So then, if most
English
people
would be
speak
fantastic.
English, yeah. And of course, English is the most spoken language. 1.5 billion speakers. You can see that here. So
no
that's
radio.
another thing too. It is true. A lot of people speak English in foreign nations, and so now we just started doing something kind of unique, and that is if you hit share on these players, like if I hit share on the Chinese player, it'll copy a link, and as soon as I paste that in, this URL is going to automatically take me to the Chinese player, and it'll start to play the actual player. You give it a few seconds, and so this is a nice way to share these web radios with people. You just copy this link, share it with somebody, and say, hey, as soon as you click this link, like Gary, if you're in Chinatown and you're with somebody and you share them a link, as soon as they go to that link, it's going to play this Chinese player. And so what we're starting to do is actually advertise these links. And today, I think Paul Antachuk was advertising the Urdu station, and some people were listening to the web radios. So that's another thing we're focusing on, is not just content, but actually advertising these web radios. So
I'm not sure if I follow you there, Carl. How do you share it?
You just hit the share button here.
Once you
Right.
hit it, you've got the
once
link
you,
on
once
it.
you click it, it's copied to your clipboard. So if I hit paste, it's already on my clipboard.
Right.
That's the link that was copied.
So like if you're showing somebody else on their computer. or sending it
Exactly.
to some-
Well, maybe you want to do something like this. Okay, let's say you go to Facebook. Let's go to let me zoom out here. And let's go to my wall, for example, and I paste this link in right here. I share this URL,
Right.
and then I
Okay.
hit post. And so you can do this on social media. And so wherever you share these links, the idea is to get them playing that particular station. So this is Chinese. So as soon as I click it, it highlights the Chinese station, and it'll play in just a few seconds. Now, some browsers block autoplay. So there's a fallback. As soon as you click anywhere on the page, it'll just automatically play the radio. But overall, it at least gets them to the section, and it allows them to do that. So please share these links. If you know somebody who speaks Chinese, hit share.
On these international stations, what program like the Spanish station that goes 24/7, what kind of programs are we playing on these stations? Is it mostly music? Are there Bible studies that Chris has done that are being translated into Spanish, or studies that Edwin has done? What's being played on the stations?
That's a good question. So if Salvador's here, maybe he could touch a little bit upon that, Salvador, if you're here. But I'll just I'll briefly explain that we do have a lot more content for Spanish than we do with the other radio stations. And I'd say these are our three biggest ones: Chinese, Spanish, and English. And with the Spanish, let me switch over to Spanish here.
And Estados Unidos
you can hear
Norte.
that's Gabriel from Argentina. He's reading a study there. But if you hit the schedule, I'll fix the times if they're not right. But you see, we have Genesis series. I think this is
the Genesis studies are being played. That's great.
So the Spanish Genesis studies there. Yep. These are our radio broadcast slots. So for these hours, they're going to Cuba, the Caribbean. So they're hearing it over there. We have Types and Figures that plays. So he helps to schedule this. And somebody's been helping us to create Spanish music from Spain. And this person gives it to Salvador. So you'll hear some really nice Spanish music that plays on here. So give these other stations a listen if you'd like, or share them with somebody that speaks Spanish.
I had clicked on one last week, and it was It was amazing. It was John and Terry singing a hymn, but the hymn was in another language, but it was their voices, their singing, but it was in another language. It was incredible.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I think they were trying to sing a few other languages. Igor, you know him from Facebook. He's been working with Russian content for a while, and him and his wife do music, and they've been giving music to John and Terry, and they've been working together to produce music. So you'll hear Russian music here, you know, and then these are our news stations, Indonesia. So right now you're just going to hear music. But we do have some steadies.
Indonesia is just music.
Yeah, there are some steadies. I'm still working on getting those to autoplay. But right now, most of these stations aren't scheduled programming. They're just random tracks.
If I may, real quick, Carl, just to walk you through the Spanish web radio. I mean, we do have a lot of good music from Mr. Oswaldo. His beautiful music, the hymns, and also the AI, the music that the people from Spain is doing for us. We have the Judgment Written series. I mean, only to the number 12, but it still is a really good one. And Genesis, the series, and we have shorts, a lot of short studies from Mr. Eddie and Mr. Chris McCann, and Bible reading and so forth. It's really, really good. I mean, it's not as good as the English one, but I think we come a long way.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely coming a long way. And just the fact that it's being broadcasted to Spain on top of internet is 24/7 is really good for a whole year. So that's I mean, we can't really keep track of who's listening there because that's regular radio. But we just know that it's this northern part of Spain, right over here. Santander, this whole area is and this is close to France. This is the border of France right here. So the signals might even be getting through France, you know, if there's Spanish people there as well.
Yep.
And so
and we have went to at 11 to 12 to Caribbean, South America, went to Cuba, Caribbean, Central America, and went to Caribbean, northern South America. So it's covering a lot of ground with these blocks.
And you see me waving from Pennsylvania, Carl.
Oh, I think I see you. Yeah, we got a lot of listeners grouped up here. I do see somebody playing the Hindi station and somewhere in PA. So yeah, we got the Spanish. So they're kind of color coded. Now this is for us to be able to really like somebody's listening to Chinese over here. So this is for us to in Brooklyn, New York. So this allows us to kind of monitor our, you know, where the areas that we should focus on, you know, and this is why we color code them. So anytime we see a red, you know, okay, we know that's somebody listening to our Chinese station. And so this helps us to really to build that up. You know, over here we got a red. And somebody in Pakistan right now is listening to the Urdu station. And so this allows us to focus on different areas that we need to work on as far as outreach and things like that. So that's that. I think it pretty much covers most of the new stuff that we have on the website. Let's just see.
Well, folks, it's getting closer to the conference. What is it? Almost 45 days, Carl? Something like that?
Yeah, if you look on the announcements that pops up, you'll see a countdown here.
39 days.
Wow. Time is flying, as Russell would say.
Yeah, that was like 100 days. That seemed like it just showed 100 days not too long ago. So this is another reason why we time is flying by, and this is why I think God has really raised up AI, is it's allowing us to do things in such a quick manner. Like this website, if this were before AI, this really wouldn't have been possible with what we currently. It wouldn't have been possible with what we currently have. You know, the amount of money it would have cost, the amount of people willing to get it done quickly. You know, humans are slow. They have other clients they have to work with. But in light of AI, it's not waiting on anyone. You know, you just tell it what to do, it does it. And so it's a really great worker.
What about that video of actually showing people tracting on the background of the website in those cascading videos? Any chance that could happen, Carl?
Yeah, I'll work. I'll add that to my list of things to do. It's a pretty long list, so
So I gotta take a number like a deli.
your number one.
That's fine. Yeah, put it on the docket, because I think if you get people visiting this site and you have a podium picture of Chris and a picture of someone tracting, I think that'll sum up the website a lot.
Yeah, I could definitely do that. It's possible. I can even put it in this little tiny.
Yes, put it in that cascading, in that that carousel of images.
That's a really good suggestion there. That's a good suggestion.
Yep.
I like that.
The other thing too, I want to show people. I don't know how aware they are what type of studies we have or new open forum archives. So let me just go through some of this stuff real fast. So studies, you can go to the studies page. You can click on any one of these, Chris, Eddie, Robert, or if it's multiple teachers, you're going to find housetops. So Ray, we got you there. We got Bob Grandy,
Page number 7.
So you can choose. So here's your here's
What
some
are the
of
odds?
his after flesh studies.
The names of the son, which now is.
So this allows you to kind of skip through it. And this, we used to use SoundCloud, but this is a much better way of doing it because you don't have to go to the actual website. You can even change the color if you don't like the
Nice.
this purple's a little calming. You can do green, just personal preference. You can download the file here, share it, copy link. In some cases, people like to speed up their audio, so there is that option.
We read in Numbers 12:3 that he was humble. He was.
It'll speed it up if you like to listen to a faster reading. In our generation, it won't change your voice. It won't change the vocal. It'll just speed up what the person's saying. It won't make it sound like a chipmunk.
So Carl, I see that there's 12 studies. Is that actually true that there's only 12, or
no? That's 12 series.
12 series. Okay.
Yeah, 12 series. So these are the different series, and then within the series, it should show how many. If not, it'll be on this list. So you'll see all the 2033 studies are here. So you can, and what's nice about this is you're not scrolling through a playlist. It's the same player. You're just swapping out the studies. So it's a smarter way of doing it. You can sort them A through Z.
Will that look the same on the mobile device? Will you'll have a scrolling window pop up on your cell?
Yeah, so it'll look like this on the mobile. You can squeeze it down. It'll look just like this. So if you're on an iPhone, it'll look similar to this. If you're on an Android, it might look the drop down might look a little different. I need to change that. I think because the text was a little bit lighter, so it's harder to see. But yeah, it's the same function. You can hit the play button here. It's obviously when you're on mobile, things have to shift around like that. So yeah, we have the studies there, and then I'll show you back on the homepage. It's not just Bible studies we have. If you go to the new open forum archives and go to Sunday or weekdays, Albert keeps these up to date. So you'll see recently uploaded. Oh, wow. He finished today's study and he uploaded it. So you can see 14 minutes ago, Albert edited the episode 253. That's what aired today, June 14th. So that study's already up. So if you go to 2026 and you go to the latest, well, this is for weekday. Let me switch to Sunday.
So Albert, if you're listening, may God strengthen you and keep you. Your diligence
the following
is much noticed. You uploading and doing all the sound editing and keeping these things on track, and the English player.
Yeah, I mean that was very quick, and that's nice because maybe somebody later in the day. I mean, this system we have is allowing us to get things up more readily, so they're available right away. So in this case, today's Sunday study is already in audio format. You can listen to it, and
that is our desire.
And then you can hit download. So that's already available there. If you want to switch it over to weekday, you can do that. You can switch it over to what year. We started in 2020 with the open forum. And then you can switch what episode. So that's all available there. Now, I want to show you podcasts real fast. So we did studies, new open forums. Podcast are all of these programs. We have the Bible Exalted. We have our Saturday night Christian talk. These are just audio, by the way. We have our Sunday evening meditations, and we have the Harold Camping book reviews. So all of our Bible Exalted files are here, and we even have the latest one already up here.
And now here's
number 40 right there. So that's up. And I don't know if too many people know about this page, but this is our videos page where you can actually watch videos from our website. So I'm still keeping these up to date, but these are all the Bible Exalted videos that we've done. So if I click on a random one, it'll actually play the video and you can leave a comment right there. So go ahead and leave a comment if you'd like, and you can watch some of our timeline videos.
Flood time paths.
Got an introduction video. So we'll try to keep these up to date. A lot of open forums are up here. Like I think most of them are up here right now. So we're trying to build up this videos page because that's nice to be able to watch videos from our website. Of course, the timeline page, it's coming along. There's still some more things that we're working on here. But
wait to see the DNA helix cry. For some reason, I think it really would.
Information overload on the website. No church has got anything like this. We're the only ministry that has anything near a website like this. I mean, this is a really, really complicated and abundant website. There's so much information here.
There is a lot. Yeah, I actually have a hard time. I struggle with where to put everything because somebody says, "Well, where's this at and where's that at?" And I think it can be overwhelming. But if you have the time, just sit back. All the links to every page are right here.
Carl, if a humble suggestion, create a big search tab and see if you can have a search tab where whatever that person types in, it'll take them there. Because
that's on my list of things as far as what to add to the website. Definitely.
My to-do list. My to-do list.
Huge. Yeah. Because that way they feel they're invited to search it. They're invited to type it in.
Yeah, I definitely can do that very easily. That's that can be done. And then we have these other language websites. We have now an Indonesian website, which is basically going to mirror the look of our English website. And here we actually already have Indonesian studies. We have the Jonah studies and the biblical evidence.
Do you mind talking about how translation is going? What is the current status and what is needed to effectively run a translation? Do you still need an operative who's a native speaker?
So right now it all starts with a transcript. So if you have, let's just say we have Chris's 2033 studies. If we have the first episode that he did, then from there we need a transcript. So it goes from a transcript, an English transcript, and then from there, somebody who speaks the language has to translate it. And AI does a pretty good job translating. It's getting better. And but really, we need somebody just to kind of review it afterwards. So that AI is definitely speeding up.
Is it at 75% accuracy, 70, 85, 80, 90?
It might even be higher, but I don't know for sure because that's not really my department.
Okay.
But if somebody, like, for example, speaks Spanish, take one of the studies, put it through Claude or ChatGPT and see how well it does with the translation, and they'll know, okay, they got most of the stuff right.
Are we going to get a segment on that on the conference about translation? And is someone going to stand up and speak about that?
Yeah, we'll a few people have been set up to go over the website and different things and how that's all going. So yep. That's in the works. This is nice because now you can listen to studies in a different.
Ini adalah pelajaran nomor 104 dan kita akan melihat kitab Yunus. Ini akan menjadi sedikit penyimpangan.
So here we already have studies up for Indonesian. I don't think we've ever had a different website for different language with studies. So this is definitely pretty big development. I need to change these so they're in Indonesian, just the names. But other than that, everything else is translated into Indonesian. This website is less complicated, but it does have the web radio here, so they can listen to their own web radio.
So you have the Jonah studies translated into Indonesian.
Yeah, we have quite a bit. We have
that's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and for the biblical evidence, I think we have more than 5, but for the other one, for the Jonah part, we have 35 parts. So these are also going through the web radio for Indonesian. So once we build up these libraries, then we'll have more content to actually do programming for these the web radios, like this one right here.
How the Lord is going to use that, because you get somebody. All it takes is one person to listen to 20 or 30 of those studies, if somebody listens to 20 or 30 of those studies, they're definitely going to have a lot of questions. And
Oh, yeah.
that could spread like wildfire.
Oops, I didn't mean to click that. But all these buttons work up here, the contact, the about, all that. So
I like the open forum program where someone speaks Filipino and then Mandarin. It just really gives the open forum a nice flair. And the
it gives it like an international flair, which E-Bible Fellowship's an international ministry. It's not just for America. I don't know how many churches really focus on being international. I mean, I'm sure there are some out there, and we're not a church, of course, but we are. It's an international ministry. We want to reach people around the world. We also have we're the idea is to have as many for each web radio. We want to have their own website, basically. And in the near future, AI might look something like this, where everything's on one website. And if somebody wants to listen to a study, like for example in English, the AI possibly would be able to, detect their language, or they select their language, and it automatically has the audio being read in that language. That's what a smarter future looks like. And that's possibly where it's heading.
Yeah, there's something called AI agentic services where AI is going to be being very intuitive and curating what you need for you. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point this translation issue goes away, because just like how the AI can copy my voice, I think they're going to be able to copy, conversation and do it in a way that most people speak, because it's on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be smarter, and it'll probably reach a point where, a lot of its voice commands, even for somebody using a cell phone, instead of actually typing in E-Bible Fellowship, it would be talking to the phone saying, hey, go to E-Bible Fellowship, play the Chinese web radio, or play the English web radio. It might look more like that in the future.
So for anybody who doesn't want to track, you can now give tracks to your robot and send your robot out and ask it, did you pass them all out? And then the robot's going to say, I gave it to all the other robots. And then you're going to send it back out again and say, now I want you to pass it to humans. But we do see that somehow God is opening up doors of technology. And it's not just for the gospel. You see that mankind is really trying to eliminate work. It's just pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. And there seems to be a race for these data centers. I don't know what it's all about, but we know God's in full control of it, and it's helping us. So some of these things that might not seem profitable, God can use it for us. I remember Mr. Camping's headquarters. I'm not sure the name of this pastor. I think it was Jim Jones. Mr. Camping had the printing equipment of Jim Jones. That's like a perfect example. From what I understand, Jim Jones had a reputation, but the equipment was still profitable, and it printed out hundreds of thousands, if not millions of.
Well, I think on that particular video, the interviewer was trying to connect that with Fama Radio, and he said, and so he's like, "This is a living link." He's like, "Well, actually, I think it's a dead link." Mr. Camping said that, showing that, it has nothing to do with
exactly,
but it was still being used for good, actually, rather than whatever else that they were printing.
That's right. So Carl, thanks very much. We look for that little search tab. You can hopefully put it at the top by the hamburger, but make it really big text, easy to click if possible. And folks, we do have July 4th weekend in Washington, D.C. I think there's some kind of MMA octagon at the White House, so that seems like a great place if we can get there. All the pandemonium and chaos that is ensuing in that area, Washington, D.C. For folks, please keep us in prayer for those that hope to make it there, for safety, traveling mercies, and that God would, present the right people there if we do make it there. It's supposed to be a very, very huge event. I'm sure there might be events going on in your neighborhood, as lots of localities want to celebrate 250 years of this country. And we got to give God thanks that it's this country that God allowed family radio to be raised up, and we still have a lot of freedoms. I know for us like-minded friends, when we came back from India, once we landed in London, we felt so much happy to like whip a tract out, or we felt so free to have religious freedom. And then when we got back to the United States, we could just walk right up to anybody and say, "Would you like to read this?" You know, we take that for granted. We really do. If you do that in another country, they're like, "What? Do you know what you just did?" You know, it's really interesting to consider just how blessed we are that we can just go up to anybody. I mean, anybody.
Oh, let me give an update regarding the tracks. We have somebody in India that is willing to help pass out tracks.
Tracks or Bibles?
Tracks.
They know they have they read.
Yeah.
Oh, good. They've been vetted.
They said they could hand out. Yeah, they're gonna take some of the tracks that we have, and they're gonna hand them out. God willing.
Wonderful. So we see God's hand in that. And
by the way, Gary, I talked to somebody who had been prior to 2011. They had been to Pune and Mumbai, and they said it's notorious for being really hard to hand out tracks, even prior to 2011. And they said, the key is actually to go to the smaller cities. Those are the two worst, the most difficult.
And that's the ones we picked.
Yeah, but they said your experience probably would have been much different in the smaller cities. They wouldn't have cared as much. But of course, we want to go to all cities.
It was God's will that we went there. Maybe because it was the toughest.
Right.
Maybe that was God's will.
Exactly.
That we actually went to the area in which it was most restrictive, that God's perfect will be done, and raised up those men who were our guides to take us into the heart of the beast. I don't want to use that word too wildly there, but into the heart of the cities of where the strongholds were, and we plundered as God allowed until he stopped that activity. Pretty interesting.
I believe too. Soon we'll have radio going right into India, which will they can stop us, but I don't think they can stop the radio. The radio waves.
I was going to joke and say it's like taking Karg Island, but by God's grace, he allowed us to do his will, and I can tell you, it's amazing to be in a world where God is not showing miracles, but he's showing you that he's orchestrating every aspect of the trip, every interaction, every police officer that doesn't escalate the situation, even though they know exactly what you're doing. And it's just not God's timing for them to make a big fuss about it. That's one thing I noticed when I was on this trip. At any time, a police officer could have walked up and said, "We know what you're doing. We know you're here. We don't like what you're doing, and it needs to stop." But it's only when God is ready, it gets to the point where the police respond in that way and we leave. It's like God, he controls the temperature of the boiling point. Man doesn't control that. God, he fully controls when it's time for us to leave, who gets agitated, who the person gets agitated with. It's just amazing when you think about the fine tuning that God does. The time, the location, the people, the person who interacts with our team member, who God chooses within the team to react. It's all ordained by God, and it's really amazing when you think about it. So, Carl, is there anything else you wanted to mention?
I think that pretty much covers it. Nothing that I can think about. Okay. But I would just encourage people visit the website when you have time. Check out all that information, and share with other people. Because if you can get people to our website, and if you can share those web radios, that would be very good, because that would lead them right into, especially if it's a foreign person. So if they speak Chinese, go to the Chinese web radio, click the link, and share that link with them. Go on Chinese forums, go on Chinese social media platforms, share that link, because there's a lot of actually good content in Chinese. And you'd be really helping to build up our web radios. And that may not seem like, to some people, maybe, a big thing, but if you can get people listening to the web radios, you're going to get them coming back to the website and learning more information. So the web radios will give them something to listen to 24/7.
Carl, I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm going to hold this up to my screen, okay? It's a very unsightly photo of me, of course. But this is a QR code of what I was holding today. Could you get your phone and just tell me if you're able to open this QR code and what you see?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
And folks, if you're watching this program, can you do the same and just put in the chat if you're able to just hold your phone up to the screen, what you're seeing here, and see if you're able to actually.
So it says the QR code has been deactivated for some reason.
Can you imagine that? I'm holding this sign up. Sweating, and they're like, "What are you trying to tell me? That you deactivated a QR code?"
Yeah, that's not good.
What happened here?
I have a website where I don't. Yeah, but I have a website you don't need to pay for QR codes. I don't think.
What do we do with this? Do we just?
You gotta do it. You
gotta get it. I gotta tell you, I think we're obligated because there's so many people in the press that took our photo today. Anyone from the trip today, if you're there, we'd love to hear from you. Someone says, "Looked like you held half of it."
I would always, when you go out, always check the QR code before you go out.
I would assume that it's functioning.
Yeah, because some QR codes, if whoever built it, they may be paying for a service. I found one on that seems to be consistently working.
I'm bearing false witness.
You know what? Try this if you don't mind. Go to our website. Here, I'm gonna go to our website.
Oh, you mean the ones that you created?
Yeah, I created these a while ago on the.
Yep, open it up, sir.
Yeah, see if you can scan this one. So if you go to our graphics, graphic and downloads, you're gonna see these.
Yep, ready.
These are the ones that Vincent carries around.
Download it and open it up for me, sir. All right.
So the first one is the website. So you want to scan that one first.
All right, one is Zoom, the one to the right. It's opening up, so that works.
So I would
to the left.
Oh, you know what? It went to QR. Hold on.
See? Good thing we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
This is very good. This is not a negative thing. Remember, these are things that we want to do so that way.
Okay. I'll redirect this link. So it automatically redirects to
So the reason why we're doing this is because we've held these signs up and we have to maintain them because they're in the digital atmosphere. And if people watch these previous videos and they scan the QR code and it takes them nowhere, obviously they'll try to find us some other way because our website's at the bottom. But it's good that we have it. Because at the trip today, yes, Miss Michelle, please go ahead if you wanted to talk about the trip. If Joselito, if you're here too, a couple of press members took photos of us.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Everyone. Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Hope everyone's well in the Lord.
Glad you made it home safe.
Thank you. Yes.
Good,
yes, and you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know where they were from. One gentleman with the camera, professional camera, had some kind of news report vest on, right, or something like that.
He was he's the official press for the city office of New York City.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was another man with a professional camera that took a photo of you guys, and then a few minutes later, the other gentleman. So two different cameramen. I saw that they stood right in front of you and Joselito and took that shot, right?
Yeah, it's like a tradition now. And
oh, have they done that before?
Well, apparently Joselito said that the last parade in 2025, there were 3 photos of us. 3 photos within the last recap. I was asking Joselito if he doesn't mind showing that. That'd be really good. Because when we go tracking, maybe some folks are like, well, what's the impact? I don't see any difference. And God is going to, do it for his will.
Yeah, I thought it was great that the different vehicles in the parade, all those people up there staring at the crowd, they were staring right at your signs. A few different ones that went by.
They got
but a
the
lot.
message.
Oh yeah.
Even though it was a very busy day for them, there were folks who had cameras.
Yes.
Our eyes met. They saw the sign. And when you can tell someone they see a sign, this is what they do. Vince, let me know if you agree. If someone's reading the sign and you see them, but they don't see you, this is what they do. They scratch. You can tell they're thinking. They do the scratch in the head. That lets you know they're really thinking. And during the parade, I saw a couple of that. And yeah, Vince, you want to say something, sir? Just hit unmute. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. When they see that sign in that date, it just like you can see it's like they're like running from it, So they're like their eyes are going down, and it's just like, and sometimes you'll get a couple people come up and they want to argue with you, you shouldn't be doing this out here. You should be telling, bringing them to Jesus, and I try to explain to them, but of course I can't open their eyes. So
that's right, Vince.
So I just like try to think, okay, I can't convince them of anything. I just have to try to declare it and don't want to argue with them because, just sometimes you got to move on,
You do. That's right, Vince. Yeah. And may God bless you. And you do have some people who are looking forward to your videos. So be encouraged. It is a joy when they see you out there, brother. So may God strengthen.
Well, I haven't been feeling well the last week. I've just been fatigued, tired,
Yeah. Well, may God give you some help and strength. Like I said, we should be praying for each other. Mm-hmm. And I'll be keeping you in prayer too, Vince.
Thank you. I need it.
Yeah, we all do. Yes, sir. Thank you. And may God strengthen you. We'd love to see you back out there.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Yeah. I was gonna mention, I even caught another gentleman that was walking in between the gates, crossing the street. How there was a lot of aisles of people walking, and they turned around and took a photo of you and Joselito holding up the sign. Their camera. I actually caught it on camera too. I think I have that. Not on my phone because my phone was having all this technical difficulty, but I believe James's phone. He loaned me it. He was kind enough. I'm like borrowing people's phones, but because he was busy tracking, I'm like, let me get a shot of this. But and then there was another man that did say, what you're doing is wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I got just at the end when we were packing up, I was just trying to hand a couple of more out, and he was staring at me, but without saying a word, he just kept staring at everything, the tract, and then he finally said, what you're doing is wrong. Interesting, right? You never know what the Lord's doing with that.
They're so good at it. They can give a very short message and just walk away.
They stared and stared, and he stared. The gentleman stared and stared with no reaction at first, and
right.
But
it just shows you the nature of man. It's very shallow. It's not nuanced. It's not biblical. They're not coming with. It's almost like a temptation to bring discouragement. It's like if you could think of a word of discouraging to say, without context, without clarity. But just to sow a little seed of doubt, that would be one of those things.
And I was really just amazed at how many people took tracks when I first started tracting. I was trying to walk along that gate at the beginning where everyone was standing waiting for the parade to begin, and just about everybody took the tract. And I just also wanted to comment too. I mean, this has been such a blessing between last weekend and Valhalla. That was like amazing, the things and the videos, and Joselito putting together those videos, and then yesterday, wow. I mean, Tommy handed, yeah, he's right. 90% of all those people took a tract. I've never seen such a high reception.
Yeah, Tommy's a power tracker.
And yeah, actually everybody, Gary, Johnny.
Yeah, everybody's a power
I
tracker.
handed out some, and yeah, there was very little no's to those tracks yesterday.
When Tommy passes out tracks, you see he's very. You can tell his movements are very direct. He's. That's a good track. You see what he does? He gives you the track first.
Why is the world so divided? Is this something that this is? Yep. I know you're not. Okay, great. So as long as you're not showing in people's faces and you're just very welcoming, I will accept this because I can see what you guys are doing because I'm the organizer of all these. Oh, wow. So, not right now.
I had to go add my voice in there. You know what? I was just so amazed how he changed his demeanor, the gentleman. At first, I was like, "Oh, what are we getting in trouble?"
So the reason why I say this is good tracking, if you notice, they're bringing the tracks to the people. The tracks are not just coming to them. It's very engaged tracking. Very engaged. It's like they can't walk away from them. They're walking to them. You're getting a track, or at least if we can give you one, we're coming in your direction with every intent.
Some people are shy, maybe to take it. I noticed too, like if there was two people together or a group, they would come back around again, and then that person I missed that didn't want to take one too. It's interesting too.
Right, somebody writes, it makes no sense when you don't know what he's passing out. Wow. I mean, you got a Bible hat. Why is the world so divided? I guess someone from that perspective is a new viewer. So that means the YouTube algorithm is responding. So folks, I know it's late. I'm so thankful that you're on this program. We've been here for a while. If you can, share these videos, and if not share them, put in a comment, as many as you can. Just light it up. YouTube is going to know that these videos mean something to you, and they're going to recommend it to someone else. Because if you're not even liking the video, and you have people in the world, they're liking their soccer game, they're liking their basketball game, they're liking whatever show it is, and we're not liking what we like, well, you don't have to do it. I'm going to do it. I can't worry about you guys. Listen, it's funny. I when I was in school in 3rd grade, we used to try to be the teacher's pet, Obviously, that's a carnal, sinful, we're seeking favor, but we have our Lord Jesus Christ who roamed the earth, and he served us. Why wouldn't we want to be finding ways to do this? This is a little thing. This is not a big thing.
Hey, Gary.
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, you want to test this QR code again?
Yeah. So again, folks, these are little things that we can do. If you're not a tracking type, you can say, at least I like the video that was tracking. I don't track, but I like the video that was tracking. Yep.
Oh, can I?
We went to the
Can I
website.
mention-
Michelle, please. It worked, Carl.
Great.
What about the other one? What about the
The
other
other,
one?
the other one just takes you, that one's static. That never changed. It just takes you, because we switched over websites from the previous setup to the new setup, that link no longer worked, but I was able to redirect it. So it's not a problem. But this QR code is good to
What
go.
about this one that I did like a?
That one, I think Eddie created. So whatever website he used, he'll have to figure out.
I'm gonna sound like that guy in that Eddie on that Saturday program where he was Eddie.
Yeah, you just got to tell him whatever service he used. He's got to check on that. Now, I use something called Canva. Never had an issue. I think they're free. I don't think anyone should be paying for a QR code. I mean, you can do it for free. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that it's a free service.
Well, let's see if we can all just talk to Eddie about that one because it's already out there on the internet. It would be good to.
Yeah, you want to get it. So
if people looked at that today, they'll just be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
So maybe we have a little bit of window of time before they.
You can also an interesting idea, Gary, is to, like for example, Vincent, if you want to hold up that sign, do a short. Just you can even be in your apartment, doesn't matter where, and just say, "Hey, scan this QR code."
Speaking of which, Carl, I think we have another side of that banner. Remember that banner project that we did one slide for?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping, and folks, I'm just going to show my screen again. We did Adam to Moses, Moses to Christ, and then Christ to the rapture, hopefully in 2033. So I'm thinking, Carl, maybe we can just have something that just says, important message, scan here, on the other side of the.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it's very.
Or you could say something like, curious about all the division that's going on in the world. Scan this QR code to read.
I don't know if we can
to learn more.
If I was driving 60 miles an hour, and the passenger sees is like, by the time I finish reading this statement.
No. This type of sign is meant more for. It's got to be a slow moving area with a lot of people.
Yeah. So this is Adam to Moses, Moses to Christ, and then Christ to rapture. This is page 1. We just have to do some final touches of just making sure that the information we have is accurate. But all 3 are set. The next step in the process is to work on slide 2, the other side of the banner. And I think we're going to need, please, if you have any suggestions over the conference, if you're watching this program, if you have any short statements that you think would really get someone's, attention that's biblical, or maybe time has an end with a massive QR code, time shall be no longer. Please just think of some, banner style so we can get this going. Really would appreciate it.
Looks good. Yeah, you're gonna have that printed at the time of the conference. Is that the plan?
Well, we have to have something on the other side so we can send the artwork. And we want to measure twice and cut once, but time is of the essence. We got to think, what can we put on the other side? If I was driving 35, 40 miles an hour, what would catch my attention? We know the QR code is there. What should we put? And that's the big question. Something biblical, like,
you could put there was a beginning, and and then put surely there is an end.
Surely there is an end. Yeah, that's a great one
because that's a Bible verse.
Surely there is an
end.
Or
you could do 2 verses. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Or there is an end with a QR code.
Yeah, but you could do 2 so people see the first and the last. You could put in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, because people are familiar with that verse, and then below it you can put surely there's an end, because most Christians will agree that there's a beginning, but and they'll agree there's an end, but they don't focus on the end.
Right.
They don't want to think about it.
Yeah, I would like one unifying, quick statement.
So maybe surely there is an end, or maybe a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. Something that would fit with the timeline.
Time and judgment, with a huge QR code. Time and judgment, something like that. So yes.
Yeah.
Surely there is an end. I think
a wise man's heart discerns both time and judgment. You can put that really big, time and judgment.
Very good candidate. As far as the Puerto Rican Day Parade, Miss Michelle, please go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to make one other quick comment. Yesterday, I overheard a lady, Tommy, had just handed her a tract, and with her group, she said, "Oh, look, why is the world so divided? We were just talking about this." So that was interesting. I figured I'd share that because
Yeah.
it's getting around, obviously, just in conversations with people. And as far as today, yeah, a lot of people took the track that were waiting for the parade. And yeah, I just couldn't believe the crowds of people there that saw your signs while you were holding them up, people walking by. It was a real blessing.
Yeah, it really was
Okay.
encouraging. We were talking about why was reception so high. I believe my son asked me, and I said, certain nations establish themselves as Christian nations. Some nations establish themselves as agnostic or indifferent. So when you have a Christian nation who culturally accepts the word of God, you do get these kind of blessings. It's not saying that everyone's saved, but you do see how certain nations are more blessed when they establish the Bible in their governmental structure. Sometimes it's Catholic. We don't want to give so much credit where we're not aware of Satan's devices, but you do find that when you do go to these nations, reception is fairly high, and it is encouraging. It really is. Whether it's unto salvation or not, that's none of our concern. But you do see the benefit of Bible-believing nations.
Yes.
That's my perspective, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense when you brought that up today.
But yeah, it was a very much a pleasure seeing you and Ozzy. I do have a photo of us. I think, let me see if I can find it. Joselito did a great job with photos here, and I'm going to see. Oh, here it is. Ready? Oh, boy. Here's me cheesing again. Wait. So that's Russell, obviously attractive. The weather was warm. There was a man who passed out due to the. There you go, Michelle, holding the sign.
There was a really cute little girl who showed
So you can see that people were very much proud of their nation. And there were lots of police in the parade. And I think this is the picture right here.
Yeah, I like how he made the flag wave.
Joselito did, very good job. And just a pleasure and a privilege to serve the Lord with friends, like-minded friends. May it be that God would allow us to do this again. And may it be that God would send more servants. We had a dear sister, Linda. She tried to make it. She almost emptied her tracks trying to get to us. So all the folks who tried to come, or those who prayed for us, we really covet, and we thank you for thinking of us. And the Bible verses, obviously, that are there. Anything else, ma'am?
Not that I can remember at this moment.
Okay. So we do have July 4th coming. Folks, if you can make it, Lord willing, it's in Washington, D.C. I think we have about 3 or 4 people thus far, if the Lord provides. I think lodging would be appropriate because we are going to stay Friday night, Saturday night, and then leave Sunday. July 4th is a Saturday. July 4th is a Saturday. So just please keep that in mind, Lord willing. All right. Okay, we have a few minutes left. Thanks, Michelle. I wanted to show you all something pretty interesting. Let me see here. I was listening to a program about negotiations and things, and this one lady said, "Have you heard of this tar pit in California or Los Angeles called the La Brea Tar Pits?" Is anyone familiar with the La Brea Tar Pits? Apparently, in this conversation, she said there were about 300 300 saber-toothed tigers found in this body of piles of animals. And according to this person, they were saying the reason why this happened is because one animal followed another, and followed another. And I said, now that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Well, I don't want to say that in a negative way, but in my mind, I was just thinking that doesn't make sense. What does make sense to me is that sounds like the flood of Noah's day. That's what that sounds like. So I just went to AI, right? And I asked it some questions. And remember the key questions that we ask when you have people who doubt the creation. There's two phrases: low oxygen environment and waterlogging. So you can put oxygen depleted environment and waterlogging. These are the two technical words you want to use if you're ever studying research on scientists who posted studies of their archaeological findings about their fossils. And those are the two phrases that I've picked up that shows that's their way of hiding the truth, that these fossils had a low oxygen environment and that they were waterlogged. There's evidence of waterlogging. So it says that the La Brea tar pits emphasize that the heavy asphalt encapsulates trapped flora and fauna in a oxygen depleted and waterlogged environment. Now they'll try to use technical words without using it sometimes. So, but the La Brea tar pits, it says here, studies analyzing the positioning of wood debris and bone masses have routinely noted the presence of trapped water within the asphalt matrix. So much for animals following behind each other into a pit. And then you have people saying that the La Brea pits were caused by fire. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Let me just type this in very quickly. That they would actually say that. Do some scientists claim they're going to say this guy's talking about, oh, they don't say that fire formed or created the geological tar pits themselves. Okay. But a major landmark study argues that catastrophic human-caused wildfires caused the mass extinction. Can you imagine that? Somebody went camp. That's what they're saying. Is that true? That human-caused wildfires that caused the mass extinction? No way. Large-scale wildfires were the primary driver behind the rapid disappearance of South California's megafauna roughly 13,000 years ago. Interesting. So interesting. Roughly 13,000 years ago. But again, you know, and when all these studies about, you know, timelines and things like that, they really shrunk their timelines down to 13,000 years. That's interesting, right? But anyways, there was a video called Archaeology Warning. They may have secretly found Antarctica 300 years before us. This person says the Earth is around 20,000 years ago. I would love, perhaps, if we get approval, we click on this particular program with 5.7 million views, and we flood the zone with the biblical calendar of history. Because this is only 3 days ago and it got 5 million views. This is extremely high, and I think we can type something in. I'm going to do that right now. Just personally, I'm going to do that right now. So just forgive me for doing that. And if you would like, please do so as well.
Hey, Gary, just a suggestion is share those timeline videos we started going over with the Saturday night Christian Talk. And also link them to our website, the timeline page.
Human story. Right. But folks, if you don't mind, please consider putting in a comment. And I'm just going to put the Earth is roughly 13,000. Let me just type in here. Years. Uh-oh. May 21, 2011. That's Judgment Day. E-Bible. So, Lord willing, if we can all, there's 19,000 comments. And something tells me this is still going on. This is 0 seconds. Oh, that's me. So 3 days ago, 2 hours ago, someone says this was my favorite episode. So why don't we all, by God's grace, consider coming in this? And then look at this. I almost never comment anything. So friends, please keep this in mind. This person says, I almost never comment anything, but I really have to say I wish this man good heart and health. Let's also put comments in, because this is another way we can feed sheep. All right. Carl, do you mind closing us in prayer? It looks like Chris and Robert are here, sir.
Okay, sure. Heavenly Father, could it be that you may bless the rest of the Sabbath and this program and all of the outreach with the Bible Fellowship? Could it be that you may help us to prepare for perhaps many more that might tune in eventually, if it's according to thy will, that you should allow your Bible to prosper? And could it be you may help us to continue to pray about this and help us to give us guidance and direction on the best way to go about this? And I pray you may bless each of the programs that we do on Sundays and also throughout the week. And also for the Open Forum program, I pray you may bless the Open Forum program. Could it be that may prosper and grow so that we do get more callers? Because I'm sure that would be a great blessing to not only to us, but to them, that they could find a program that would allow them to ask questions about the Bible. Perhaps because so few programs out there do have a platform that allows you to call in like that. And I pray also for this platform, for this program, Enduring to the End, and all the other programs, and for the listeners. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thanks, Carl. Well, folks, it's been a pleasure. May the Lord richly bless you this week for all your activities at work, at home, and those that we can keep in mind to pray for, those who are infirmed, those who are, that you know personally are going through, trials of affliction, that God might guide them through during this time of judgment. Good night. Okay.